Most men believe that after turning 60, their sex drive is gone, that masturbation is shameful, unnecessary, or even harmful. But that's a dangerous myth. The truth is, avoiding self-pleasure after 60 can quietly harm your hormones, weaken your circulation, and even increase your risk of prostate problems. I've seen too many men lose confidence and vitality simply because no one ever told them the truth about how their body really works. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men restore their confidence, energy, and intimate health at every stage of life. I've worked with thousands of men who thought aging meant decline, until science showed them that their body was still capable of remarkable renewal. Here's what most people don't realize. Masturbation isn't the problem. Misunderstanding it is. Some men fear doing it too often, while others stop completely. Yet both extremes can hurt your health. The secret lies in balance, understanding how often and how mindfully to do it so your body feels stronger, calmer, and more alive. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly how often a man over 60 should masturbate to protect his prostate, boost circulation, and support natural testosterone, all backed by research, not rumor. You'll also learn how to transform this private act into a powerful tool for health and longevity. And stay with me until the end, because I'll expose the one common mistake men make during self-pleasure that quietly drains their energy and weakens their erections over time. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss another science-based men's health lesson designed especially for men over 60. And if this topic speaks to you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're watching. If it doesn't, type 0 so I can keep improving these videos for you. Now, let's start by understanding what truly happens inside a man's body after the age of 60. Because before we talk about how often you should masturbate, you need to know how your hormones, blood flow, and energy naturally change, and why this knowledge is the key to staying strong and vital. Section 1. What really happens to a man's body after 60? When I sit across from men in my office, men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I often hear the same quiet confession. "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." They talk about mornings that start with stiffness, both in their joints and in their confidence. They describe energy that used to surge like a river, now trickling like a tired stream. Some say their hands and feet feel colder, their spark is dimmer, and their desire, well, it's not gone, but it feels far away. I tell them what I'm about to tell you now. Nothing about what you're experiencing means you're broken or past your prime. What's happening is a set of predictable, natural shifts that every man's body goes through. Around this age, your testosterone slowly declines, about 1 or 2% each year since your 30s. Your blood vessels aren't quite as elastic as they used to be. Circulation slows a bit, and your heart must work slightly harder to deliver the same vitality it once did effortlessly. And yet, even with these changes, your body is still capable of incredible renewal. What it needs now isn't denial or shame, it's understanding. You see, testosterone is more than just a sex hormone. It fuels your drive, your mood, your muscle tone, your sleep, and even how alive you feel in your skin. When you stop engaging with your sexual energy, whether through intimacy or mindful self-pleasure, your brain begins to dial back production of these vital chemicals. It's not punishment, it's biology. Your body responds to signals, and if you stop sending them, it assumes they're no longer needed. But here's the encouraging part. Those same signals can be reignited at any age. When you begin to reconnect with your body again, through touch, arousal, and awareness, you remind your nervous system that you still need that energy, that circulation, that hormonal rhythm. Your body listens, and it responds. I've watched men in their 70s regain stronger erections, better sleep, and brighter moods, not because of a pill, but because they learned to work with their natural biology instead of against it. So, if you've ever wondered whether it's too late to feel vibrant again, let me assure you, it's not. Your body hasn't forgotten how to respond. It's simply waiting for you to remember how to speak its language. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. How something as simple and natural as masturbation, done mindfully and at the right frequency, can help you reclaim that connection and spark the vitality you thought was lost. Section 2. The real benefits of masturbation. After 60. When I first began my career, many of my older male patients would lower their voices whenever the topic of masturbation came up. Some would shift uncomfortably in their seats, as if simply admitting to it was a confession of weakness. But after 3 decades in men's health, I've learned something profound. Those who stay connected to their own bodies, even privately, often live longer, feel happier, and remain more confident than those who disconnect out of guilt or misunderstanding. Masturbation after 60 isn't just about pleasure. It's about preserving the body's most fundamental systems, your circulation, your hormones, your stress response, and even your sleep. When you engage in self-intimacy, blood vessels in your entire body dilate, sending oxygen-rich blood throughout your organs, including your heart and brain. This process keeps the vascular system active and flexible. Think of it like gentle cardiovascular exercise for your entire body, only it feels a whole lot better. I've had patients tell me they sleep more deeply and wake up more refreshed after moments of mindful self-pleasure. That's not a coincidence. It's biology at work. Then there's the hormonal side. During arousal and climax, your body releases a powerful cocktail of endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, and even a short-term rise in testosterone. These are your natural antidepressants and pain relievers. They improve your mood, reduce anxiety, and remind your body to keep its hormonal machinery active. In men who completely suppress their sexual energy, I often see faster declines in testosterone and more pronounced fatigue. But men who maintain regular, moderate self-intimacy tend to have steadier hormone levels and a noticeably brighter outlook on life. There's also a quieter, more emotional benefit that few men ever talk about: the return of self-confidence. When you take time to explore your body without shame or urgency, you send yourself a message: I'm still here. I still matter. That sense of connection radiates outward. It influences how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, and how you experience life. I've seen widowers, divorced men, and even those struggling with illness rediscover a sense of peace and pride through mindful self-care. So, if you've been wondering whether masturbation after 60 is still good for you, the answer is a resounding yes. Not because you're chasing youth, but because you're nurturing vitality. It's one of the simplest, most natural ways to keep your system balanced, your spirit calm, and your confidence alive. But how often should you do it to gain these benefits without feeling drained? That's where science gives us a clear and surprisingly empowering answer, and that's exactly what we'll uncover next. Section 3. So how often should a man over 60 masturbate? This is the question almost every man over 60 eventually asks me, though most hesitate before they do. They lower their voice, look around the room, and whisper, "Doc, how often should I be doing it?" I can see the uncertainty in their eyes, part curiosity, part embarrassment, part fear of the answer. And I always tell them the same thing: there's no shame in asking. It's one of the most natural and important questions a man can ask about his health. The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all number, but there is a rhythm, a balance your body recognizes. Most scientific research and clinical experience suggest that for men in their 60s and beyond, 2 to 3 times a week is an ideal frequency. That's often enough to maintain strong circulation, keep hormone levels stable, and support prostate health without overtaxing your system. Some men feel their best with slightly more, others with a bit less. The goal is not to follow a rigid rule, but to listen to how your body feels afterward. You should feel relaxed, clear-headed, and even energized, not tired or irritable. What's remarkable is how consistent rhythm benefits the entire body. Regular release helps flush out prostate fluid, reducing inflammation and stagnation that can build up when men go long periods without ejaculation. It supports blood flow, lowers stress hormones like cortisol, and sends your brain a powerful message: I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm functioning. The key is gentle regularity, not intensity. Think of it like tending to a garden. You don't flood it once a month. You water it steadily so life continues to flourish. I've had patients who went months without any sexual activity, believing it was the respectable or safer thing to do. Many developed symptoms of fatigue, low mood, and even erectile difficulty. But when they began a consistent routine, mindful, moderate, and balanced, their energy returned, their sleep improved, and their sense of masculinity deepened. One man in his 70s told me he felt like a light had been turned back on inside him. That's what proper rhythm does. It reignites the natural circuitry of vitality. So don't think in terms of rules or guilt. Think in terms of health. Your body doesn't need perfection. It needs participation. A steady, mindful rhythm of release keeps the engine running smoothly, protecting your prostate, your heart, and even your mind. But frequency is just one piece of the puzzle. The timing of your practice and the way you approach it can completely change its effects on your body and energy, and that's exactly what we'll explore next. Section 4. The best time of day and how to do it mindfully. Over the years, I've noticed something fascinating about men who maintain strong vitality into their 70s and 80s. They don't just ask how often to masturbate, they ask when and how. Timing and mindset may sound like small details, but they can completely transform how your body responds. This isn't just about release. It's about understanding your body's natural rhythm and working with it instead of against it. Your hormones follow a daily cycle, much like the rising and setting of the sun. In the morning, your testosterone peaks. That's why many men wake up with stronger erections or a natural sense of energy. Engaging in self-pleasure during this window can help reinforce your body's hormonal rhythm. Think of it as setting your internal clock, reminding your brain that your vitality is still active and worth maintaining. Morning sessions can leave you feeling more alert, confident, and even optimistic throughout the day. It's your body's version of a positive start, like meditation, but with a pulse. Evening, however, tells a different story. As the day winds down, your stress hormones like cortisol begin to drop. After climax, your body releases prolactin and oxytocin, chemicals that promote calm and deep sleep. For men who struggle with restless nights or find their thoughts racing when they try to sleep, this natural relaxation response can be incredibly healing. A mindful evening session can quiet your mind and prepare your body for the kind of restorative rest that pills can't deliver. But beyond timing, what truly matters is mindfulness. Too many men rush the process, focusing only on the end goal. They treat self-pleasure as something mechanical, a task to get over with. But when you slow down, when you breathe, pay attention, and connect with your body, the experience changes entirely. Your nervous system shifts into balance, your circulation improves, and you begin to feel a deep sense of gratitude for the strength that still lives within you. I often tell my patients, this isn't about performance, it's about presence. When done mindfully, masturbation becomes more than an act, it becomes medicine. It heals the mind as much as the body. It reminds you that you still have control, vitality, and worth. And when you start approaching it with patience and care, the benefits multiply: better mood, better sleep, and a quiet, renewed confidence that carries through your day. But here's the catch. Like anything powerful, too much or too little can throw things off balance. And understanding that fine line, the dangers of overdoing it or avoiding it completely, may surprise you. That's exactly what we're going to uncover next. Section 5. The dangers of doing it too often or too rarely. When men come to see me and say they feel exhausted, foggy, or somehow off, one of the first questions I ask is how often they're engaging in sexual activity or masturbation. Most pause, unsure if they should answer honestly. But I always remind them, your body doesn't lie. The truth is, both overindulgence and complete abstinence can quietly throw your system out of balance, leaving you feeling weaker, not stronger. When you masturbate too often, especially without mindfulness or emotional connection, your body starts to lose its natural rhythm. You may notice temporary fatigue, a lack of focus, or even dullness in your erections. That's because frequent, intense stimulation floods your brain with dopamine, the pleasure chemical. But when dopamine levels spike too often, your receptors become less responsive. It's like shouting at your nervous system until it stops listening. The result? You crave more stimulation but feel less satisfaction. Over time, this can even lead to lower energy, disrupted sleep, and a subtle loss of motivation. I've had patients who confessed to using masturbation as a way to escape boredom, stress, or loneliness, only to find it drained them further. What started as relief became restlessness. On the other end of the spectrum, avoiding it completely can be just as harmful. When you suppress sexual activity for long periods, blood flow to the pelvic region slows down. The tissues in your penis, like any muscle, need regular oxygen and stimulation to stay healthy. Without that, elasticity decreases and erectile function can decline. The prostate, too, can suffer from stagnation. Fluids build up, inflammation increases, and discomfort follows. I've seen men who believed celibacy would preserve their strength, only to develop the very problems they were trying to avoid. The answer, as always, lies in balance. Your body thrives on consistency, not extremes. When you listen to your energy, when you treat your self-pleasure as care rather than compulsion, your system responds with vitality and calm. It's not about counting days, it's about respecting rhythm. I often tell my patients to treat masturbation the same way they treat exercise. You don't lift weights all day, and you don't avoid movement completely. You find a pattern that strengthens you. That's how you keep your hormones, your circulation, and your confidence working together in harmony. But there's something even more fascinating behind this balance, a biological truth that explains why staying sexually active can literally keep your body younger from the inside out. It's a principle I call use it or lose it, and it's the next piece of this puzzle you need to understand. Section 6. The science behind use it or lose it. I still remember one of my patients, a 71-year-old man named Richard, who came to see me after nearly a year of total abstinence. He wasn't ill, and he didn't lack desire. He simply believed that at his age, it was better to stop. When he sat in my office, he admitted that his erections had grown weaker, his energy had dipped, and his confidence had faded. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I think my body just forgot how to respond." And in a way, he was right. The body does forget, if you stop reminding it. Sexual function, like any other system in your body, thrives on activity. The nerves, blood vessels, and smooth muscles that make erections possible all depend on oxygen-rich blood flow to stay healthy. When that stimulation disappears for long stretches, those tissues receive less oxygen, less stretch, and less reason to stay responsive. It's similar to what happens when you stop exercising a muscle. It weakens, stiffens, and eventually loses its tone. But the moment you begin using it again, circulation improves, sensitivity returns, and strength follows. That's the use it or lose it principle. And it's one of the most powerful truths about male sexual health. Masturbation, when practiced mindfully and consistently, keeps this entire system active. It maintains vascular flexibility, keeps nerve pathways open, and signals your brain to continue producing testosterone and other key hormones. Studies in the Journal of Sexual Medicine show that men who engage in regular sexual activity, either alone or with a partner, maintain stronger erectile function and report higher overall vitality than those who don't. In simple terms, your body needs reminders that it's still alive and needed. When you provide those reminders, the body responds in kind. I've seen men in their 70s completely transform their intimate health just by reconnecting with this practice. Within weeks, their circulation improves, their morning erections return, and they feel more alert and motivated. It's not magic, it's physiology. The human body is incredibly adaptable. It listens to the signals you give it. When you stop sending those signals, it slows down. When you begin again, it reignites. So if you've ever wondered whether self-intimacy still serves a purpose after 60, the answer is absolutely yes. It's not just about pleasure, it's about maintenance, preservation, and pride in your own body. It's how you tell your system, I'm still here and I still care. But this connection runs even deeper than biology. Beyond the physical benefits lies something more personal, an emotional renewal that few men expect but every man deserves. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Section 7. Emotional and psychological healing through self-intimacy. There's a side of male sexuality that medicine doesn't talk about nearly enough: the emotional side. Over the years, I've met countless men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who quietly carry a deep sense of loneliness, not because they've lost interest in intimacy, but because they've lost connection with their own bodies, their confidence, and sometimes their sense of worth. When they sit in my office, I can feel that quiet ache between their words. And this is where self-intimacy, practiced with presence and compassion, becomes something far more powerful than most people imagine. When you take the time to touch yourself not out of boredom or habit, but out of care and awareness, you begin to rebuild a relationship with your body. You learn to listen again, to notice the warmth of your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the pulse that reminds you you're still alive. This kind of self-connection is profoundly healing. It calms the mind, lowers anxiety, and restores a sense of control that aging sometimes steals. For many men, it also helps heal old wounds, those moments when shame, performance anxiety, or rejection left scars that were never spoken about. Mindful self-pleasure gives you a safe space to feel, release, and forgive yourself. There's a quiet dignity in that. You begin to understand that pleasure isn't a reward for youth, it's a right of being human. Every time you engage with your body without judgment, you send a powerful message to your mind: I am enough. I am still whole. That message reshapes how you show up in the world. I've seen men who once felt withdrawn or bitter slowly regain softness, warmth, and even humor. Their posture changes. Their eyes brighten. They start living again, not surviving. And the benefits ripple outward. When you're more at peace with yourself, your relationships improve. You communicate with more patience and understanding. You become less reactive, more grounded. Self-intimacy becomes emotional nourishment, a kind of therapy that doesn't require words, only presence. It's a way of saying thank you to a body that has carried you through decades of work, love, loss, and change. So if you've ever thought masturbation was just a physical act, it's time to see it for what it truly can be: a path to self-healing, self-respect, and emotional balance. And once you learn to approach it this way, you'll also understand the one mistake that silently robs men of these benefits, no matter their age. That's what I'll share with you next, and it's something every man deserves to know. Section 8. The one mistake that can harm your energy and prostate health. There's one habit I see more often than any other, and it quietly steals the benefits of everything we've talked about. I've seen it in men who are healthy, strong, and well-intentioned, but who unknowingly turn a restorative act into something that drains them. That mistake is rushing. Rushing through self-pleasure as if it's a race to the finish line rather than a conversation with your body. When you rush, your mind and body fall out of sync. Instead of relaxation, you create tension. Instead of balance, you trigger stress. And that's where problems begin. When you hurry the process, your body responds with shallow breathing and tightened muscles, particularly in the pelvic area. This increases internal pressure on the prostate, making inflammation or discomfort more likely. Over time, that tension can contribute to pelvic pain, urinary problems, or even erectile fatigue. I once treated a man in his late 60s who had no medical issues but constantly felt worn out after masturbation. After listening to him describe his routine, I realized he had been rushing every time, clenching, holding his breath, pushing toward release. I asked him to slow down, to breathe deeply, to shift his focus from finishing to feeling. 2 weeks later, he came back smiling. "Doc," he said, "it feels completely different now, stronger, calmer, and somehow more alive." That's the power of awareness. When you treat self-pleasure as an act of gratitude, not urgency, your body responds differently. Your circulation improves, your hormones balance more smoothly, and your energy lingers instead of disappearing. You're not just stimulating nerves, you're communicating safety and peace to your nervous system. That's what allows relaxation, pleasure, and recovery to unfold. The same principle applies to your mind. When you rush, you reinforce anxiety and performance thinking, the same patterns that cause erectile dysfunction and mental fatigue. But when you slow down, you retrain your brain to associate arousal with calm, not stress. That rewires everything: your focus, your stamina, even your emotional state. So the next time you engage in self-intimacy, take your time, breathe, feel, notice. This isn't about reaching a goal, it's about honoring your body. The longer you stay connected, the deeper the healing. And when you begin to approach this practice with that level of awareness, something remarkable happens. It no longer stands alone. It becomes part of your overall wellness, blending seamlessly with the rest of your lifestyle. And that's exactly what we'll uncover next, how this intimate habit fits into a larger, healthier rhythm for the rest of your life. Section 9. How to make self-intimacy part of a healthy lifestyle. When I talk to men in their 60s and 70s about masturbation, I don't present it as a separate act. It's part of a complete wellness strategy. Your sexual health isn't something that exists in isolation. It's tied to everything else: your heart, your hormones, your mind, your sleep, even your outlook on life. When these systems work together, you don't just feel alive, you stay alive. Self-intimacy, when practiced the right way, can become a cornerstone habit that supports your entire body. Think of it like your morning walk or your vitamins. It's not something you do in secret or shame. It's something you do for balance. When paired with proper exercise, it strengthens circulation and helps maintain the elasticity of your blood vessels. When supported by nutrition, especially foods rich in zinc, omega-3s, and antioxidants, it aids in hormone regulation and prostate health. I often tell my patients, if you eat right, move daily, and stay connected to your body, your erections will tell you everything you need to know about your health. But it's not just physical. Integrating self-intimacy into a healthy lifestyle also means protecting your emotional state. Meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing all enhance this practice. They calm the nervous system and shift your attention from performance to presence. When your mind is at peace, your body responds in kind. The result is not just better intimacy, it's better sleep, sharper focus, and a lighter mood throughout the day. Many of my patients report that after adopting this balanced approach, they feel younger, more capable, and more in tune with their partners and themselves. It's also essential to be kind to your body. Hydration plays a quiet but powerful role. Staying hydrated improves circulation and energy levels, both of which are key for healthy arousal. Managing stress is equally important. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which interferes with testosterone and libido. By practicing regular, mindful self-intimacy, you're actually training your body to counteract stress naturally. It becomes your body's built-in reset button. So, instead of viewing masturbation as something separate or indulgent, begin seeing it as one thread in the larger fabric of your well-being. When you nurture that connection between your physical, emotional, and sexual health, you create a feedback loop of vitality that only gets stronger with time. And that leads us to perhaps the most important question of all, the one most men never think to ask: how does self-intimacy affect your lifespan? Can it actually help you live longer, not just feel better? The science behind that might surprise you, and that's exactly what we'll explore next. Section 10. Can regular masturbation actually help you live longer? It might sound surprising, but yes. Maintaining a healthy, balanced sexual life, including regular masturbation, may actually add years to your life. I know that sounds bold, but the science is compelling. Over the past 2 decades, numerous studies have shown that consistent sexual activity supports heart health, balances hormones, reduces stress, and strengthens the immune system, all of which are critical factors for longevity. It's not just about pleasure, it's about biological renewal. When you reach climax, your body releases a cocktail of healing chemicals: oxytocin, endorphins, and nitric oxide. These compounds relax your blood vessels, improve circulation, lower blood pressure, and trigger feelings of calm and satisfaction. Think of it as a full-body tune-up, a natural reset that clears the tension of daily life. For men over 60, when stress and inflammation quietly eat away at vitality, this natural release can literally help the body heal from the inside out. I've seen men with hypertension, insomnia, and chronic fatigue regain stability after incorporating this practice mindfully and regularly into their lives. But the benefits don't stop there. Regular ejaculation helps flush the prostate, reducing the buildup of inflammatory compounds that can lead to discomfort or disease. It's a preventive measure that works in the background, quietly protecting one of the most vital organs in a man's body. At the same time, by maintaining healthy testosterone levels through regular arousal and release, you support bone density, muscle mass, and even brain health. This is why men who stay sexually active into their older years often appear sharper, more confident, and more youthful than their peers. There's also an emotional component to longevity. A man who remains connected to his body, who continues to feel desire and respond to it with gratitude rather than shame, stays mentally younger. He's more curious, more engaged, and less prone to the emotional isolation that accelerates aging. I've met men in their 70s who glow with the energy of men decades younger, not because they defied time, but because they stayed connected to their own vitality. They never stopped honoring that spark within. So yes, masturbation, done mindfully, moderately, and with respect for your body, can be one of the most natural anti-aging tools you have. It's a daily reminder that your body is still capable, responsive, and worthy of care. But this journey isn't just about science. It's about embracing what it truly means to age with confidence, dignity, and joy. And that's exactly what I want to leave you with in the final message, one that could completely change how you see yourself and your future. Conclusion: embracing your body, your rhythm, and your second prime. As a urologist, I've spent more than 3 decades listening to men talk about their health, some whispering about their fears, others admitting to the quiet loneliness that comes with aging. And after all these years, I can tell you this: life after 60 is not the end of vitality. It's the beginning of a new kind of wisdom. Your body may change, yes, but it never stops responding to care, touch, and connection. The question isn't whether you can still experience pleasure, it's whether you're willing to give yourself permission to feel alive again. We've covered a lot together. You now understand that masturbation after 60 isn't just about sexual gratification, it's about preserving circulation, maintaining hormone balance, and nurturing your emotional health. You've learned that 2 to 3 mindful sessions per week can help regulate your body's rhythm, keep your prostate healthy, and even improve your sleep and mood. You've discovered that timing matters, that morning or evening sessions can harmonize with your body's natural cycles, and that slowing down transforms a simple act into a restorative one. You've seen how the use it or lose it principle keeps your system responsive, how balance prevents fatigue, and how awareness can turn a private habit into a healing practice. But perhaps the most important lesson is this: you are not past your prime. You are entering your second prime, a phase where you no longer chase performance or approval, but instead seek connection, peace, and vitality from within. The power of self-intimacy lies not in intensity, but in intention. It's a way of honoring the vessel that has carried you through decades of love, labor, and resilience. Each mindful moment of self-care becomes a quiet affirmation that you still belong to your body, your desires, and your life. So the next time you ask yourself, how often should I masturbate at my age? Remember, it's not about counting days. It's about consistency, mindfulness, and respect for the body that still wants to serve you. Treat this practice as you would any act of wellness, like walking, meditating, or nourishing yourself with good food. Do it because it keeps you alive, not just physically, but emotionally. Aging gracefully isn't about giving up. It's about adapting with purpose. It's about understanding that pleasure, connection, and vitality have no expiration date. And if you nurture that truth, your 60s, 70s, and even 80s won't feel like the closing chapters of your story. They'll feel like the beginning of a richer, deeper one. If this message resonated with you, let it be a reminder: your body is still listening. Speak to it kindly, honor it often, and it will continue to answer with strength, warmth, and life.